One way that Google uses big data is with self-driving cars. Google collects mass amounts of data to make it compatible with car systems and have the feature of being able to not manually drive your vehicle. This is a very impactful use of data because that means that instead of wasting your time driving around to and from work or school, you can now use that time for other tasks like doing homework, sleeping, or talking on the phone. Although the software is not fully developed, it is in trial runs with Google and Tesla. Google is making advances over Tesla by the way they are collecting data. They're making their software recognize objects, for example, people, rather than having something in the way of your car, which will make their software be able to have artificial intelligence faster. Once the software is fully developed and the kinks have been worked out, the possibilities are endless for self-driving cars. Another way Google uses big data is with sustainability within their own company. They are collecting data on green materials, how to cut emissions, and overall decrease their environmental footprint. Along with that, Google has made efforts to collect data on how to make fishing more sustainable, how to construct greener buildings, and also has invested in renewable energies. Google has taken all of this big data collected and turned it into an app that will make the data more available to the public and be able to decrease their environmental impact as well. One other way that Google collects big data is with virtual reality. Collecting big data on virtual reality is huge because it will revolutionize virtualization. It is amazing to think just how much can happen with virtual reality. The possibilities for what you can include are endless. All you need is mass amounts of visual data put together to make this happen. Google has taken virtual reality and open sourced it to the public, making it possible for other companies to collect data and develop virtual reality software at a much lower cost.
On November 16, 2016, Google came out with one of its newest technologies, Google Earth Virtual Reality. Google is releasing its virtual reality tour of cities and global landmarks exclusively for the HTC Vive virtual reality headset. Vive creates premier VR headsets that retail $800 a piece. Google chose Vive because of its ability to use wireless controllers to interact with the virtual reality. Users will be able to virtually fly around a topographically reconstructed globe. This is another example of how Google is able to transform massive amounts of data into useful products. By collecting this data, Google is creating a virtual reality where millions of people will be able to explore the world like never before.
A big topic in question recently is the ethical use of data being collected from users and consumers. Data is collected with every click that you make on the internet, and not only is this not going away, but data is being collected even more aggressively than ever before. A very common question is what happens to the data. In a Forbes article titled The Ethics of Big Data, written by a woman named Ellen Rooney Martin, she quoted a professor from the Management, Science, and Information Systems at Rutgers Business School in New Jersey, who said, "The industry should have some standards for the use of big data." He believes that collecting data is not what is causing the ethical uproar, it is the analysis through scientists and company directives themselves. Now, as for Google, it states in its terms of services exactly what Google and its users are allowed to do with the data and content. When users upload, submit, store, or receive content using Google, you are giving Google the license to host, store, reproduce, modify, create derivative works, communicate, publish, publicly perform, publicly display, and distribute that content. The data taken is then analyzed by Google's automated systems and tailors your experience on the web to be personalized to you. Now, while you are a participating member on Google's homepage, this may not bother you, but these rights still apply even if you choose to no longer use Google services. Many people do not know that not only does Google save every click that you make, but it also analyzes your personal emails that are sent or received. Now, while this may be plainly stated in terms and conditions, how many people actually take the time to read these before using every website? If you knew this before making a Gmail account, would you still have made one? Or does this just make you more cautious about what information you put out?
Google puts a lot of effort into keeping the data collected from consumers safe and secure from hackers. In order to keep data safe, their security practices are verified and certified by third-party auditors. While data is in transit between devices as well as to and from Google, encryption keeps it safe, and Google has multiple layers of security, including HTTPS and transport layer security, to ensure this. Data is also continuously monitored for potential threats, and the government is never given direct access to the data. Even with all of this, there's always the chance the hackers can access data, so people need to be careful with what information they put online.
2015, Google made $67 billion from 30% of user clicks on the internet. So how did they do it? The answer is simple: paid search. On a search engine results page, you can pay for your website to appear in specific sections of the results. These paid for ads normally appear at the top of the search engine results page to the right hand side, or within a separate shopping section. If you look at the picture, this is an example of a Nike ad that was paid for. There's a little ad sign to the left showing users that it's paid. For Nike, they get the opportunity to be placed at the very top of the page. For Google, they get a constant stream of revenue, because for every single click that a user makes on this ad, Google gets paid. Currently, Google has 75% of the revenue from search engine marketing. It's a great tool for marketers and a great tool for Google to continue steady growth.